Trigonometric ratios. When we have a right angle triangle, these two sides to the 90 degree are called the legs, and the side right opposite to the 90 degree is called the hypotenuse. Excuse me. We call the side C. These two sides could be A and B, does not really matter. But what matters is that we call this big one C. The side right opposite to it is called the hypotenuse. If I look at angle A, there is one side right opposite to it. It's called the opposite to A. Yeah, opposite to A. And the side right beside it, which is the little b, right? We call that little b, we call that little a, because that's opposite to capital A, is actually called the adjacent to A. C is always the hypotenuse. On the other hand, if you look at B, side right opposite to it, small b, is going to be opposite to B. And if you look at the side right beside it, or small a, you see that that's adjacent to B. Trigonometric ratios are defined based on the ratio of these sides, each two of them. So for example, we can have adjacent over hypotenuse, we can have opposite over hypotenuse, we can have adjacent over opposite, we can have opposite over adjacent, we can have hypotenuse over adjacent, we can have hypotenuse over opposite, right? These create the trigonometric ratios. One of them is called the sine, is defined as opposite over hypotenuse. So, for example, if I have a right triangle, I have A here, I have C here, I have B here, this is 3, 4, and 5. Sine A is going to be 3 over 5, because that's defined as opposite over hypotenuse. Can you tell me what sine B is? For sine B, we're looking for the side which is opposite to B over hypotenuse. So it's going to be opposite to B. Hypotenuse is always hypotenuse. For cosine, we define it as adjacent over hypotenuse. Cosine A, we're going to have the adjacent side to A, right, which is 4 over 5. It's cosine. And for cosine B, we have to go to B, look for the adjacent side. This is the adjacent to B, and that's right opposite to B, right? 3 over 5. There's a third ratio which is called tan, and that's defined as opposite over adjacent. So if you want to find tan A, we have to say opposite over adjacent, 3 over 4. For tan B, we have to say opposite over adjacent. These are called the primary trigonometric ratios. The secondary ones are the opposites to them. So we have cosec, which is hypotenuse over opposite. We have sec, which is hypotenuse over adjacent. And we have cotan, which is adjacent over opposite. You can find this on chapter 13, 13.5. 13.5. the trigonometric ratios.